Welcome to Chelsea Reads, where we get to live vicariously through other people's drama. Today we'll be exploring r/AmItheA. Am I the A for telling my picky daughter-in-law that she can bring her own food to family events from now on? My daughter-in-law is picky with her food. No matter what, there is an issue with the food and she will make it known. The whole time I have known her, she will make a dig about the food. It is too seasoned, under-seasoned, tastes bad, hers is better, and so on. Overall, it is tiring, and no conversation gets it through her head that she is being rude. I know she is doing it on purpose. This Easter, I was having work issues. It resulted in me being very stressed, so I just ordered Easter dinner. It came with a small ham, mac and cheese, potatoes, deviled eggs, and different drinks. Super easy, just needed to warm it up. Overall, it was good. My daughter-in-law kept making comments about the food and implied I was lazy for not cooking. Her husband, my son, shut her down eventually. I thought it over and informed my son and daughter-in-law that she needs to bring her own food, that I am done with this and she is not welcome to eat my food. Argument happened and my son thinks I went too far while my daughter-in-law thinks I'm a jerk and that I can't handle criticism. I can totally get how that would be super annoying, and it doesn't sound like it's a case where she's got some kind of like eating disorder, like like ARFID or something, where you got like avoidant restrictive food disorder or something like that. Intake disorder, I don't remember what the exact acronym is, but it's basically where there's like certain foods that you really have to avoid because it grosses you out. Like I have friends who can't stand any condiments on things. If it's like wet, they just don't want it on their plate. They don't want it touching their food. They order hamburgers and it's just meat, cheese, bun, nothing else, you know? Like I know multiple people that have this and so definitely no judgment there. You know, that seems like a really different situation than what the daughter-in-law is displaying here. With the daughter-in-law, it almost seems kind of like a power play or something, like she feels superior by dissing the food in a way, like she's always finding something to nitpick is what OP is saying. So I can definitely see where it's like, oh, whether we order something in or, you know, go out to eat or I'm cooking or whatever the case is, there's always something to complain about, and nobody wants to hang out with someone who complains all the time. It's just the way it is. And the reason why I'm like, bringing up the ARFID thing is the fact that a lot of times people who have those types of particular diets, or if you've got like a really strong allergy or something, then you're pretty used to bringing in your own food. And so, yeah, if you have got something to complain about with every single meal that you eat at somebody else's house or in some other place where you're not cooking the meal, then just make your own food and bring it if you want to hang out with everybody, because nobody wants to listen to somebody complain all the time. So definitely not the A. Am I the A? My 39 female ex-husband, 37 male, is insisting I change my last name back to my maiden name because his new fiance, 24 female, feels it will be awkward for her and I to have the same last name. Am I the A for refusing to change it? My 39 female ex-husband, 38 male, has been dating this woman for 3 years. For context, she is 24 years old. My ex and I were married for 12 years and have been divorced for 5 years. We have 3 kids together who are now teenagers. My ex and I got divorced because we were young when we met and got married, and we grew apart as people. It was a mutual decision, and we agreed our kids came first and have always co-parented very well. This has been the case up until the last year when his girlfriend moved in with him. Previously, we would do holidays and kids' birthdays together. Now, when she is present, they won't even sit near me at our kids' sporting events. I have always been nice to this woman, despite my kids expressing that they do not like her and they feel their dad acts differently when she is around. My ex told me early on that she wasn't a fan of me and felt I intimidated her. When I asked him for examples of how I intimidated her, he said it's my face, that I have a resting B face and it makes her uncomfortable. My ex and her got engaged over Christmas and my kids were less than thrilled. My daughter especially. She feels her dad made a major life decision without even talking to them about it first. My ex called me yesterday saying he is giving me a heads up that I have a year to change my last name back to my maiden name, as his fiancée is expressing her distaste and concern for her and I to have the same last name when they get married. I told him we agreed in our divorce that I could keep his last name until I felt the need to change it, and that is what is listed in our paperwork. I also told him I don't want to have a different last name than our kids. He said I'm being unreasonable and refusing to see how this would make his fiancée uncomfortable. I told him I can't see it from her side because I am a grown-up and not an immature child like she is. He told me I could ask anyone about this situation, and everyone would agree with her. So am I the A for refusing to change my last name to make her happy? Oh my goodness. And so this is flared as not the A, and this is a great comment. Yeah, so Anonymous 9090 says, not the A. Tell him you'll only consider changing your last name back to your maiden name if you can change the kids' last names also. If he doesn't agree, he can sit on it and rotate. And OP responds, I did offer that as a solution, and he completely lost it, saying he is their dad and they deserve to have his last name. Yet when I said I wanted the same last name as our kids, he told me that wasn't a legitimate reason to not change it. Oh my gosh, this guy has got his head so far up his own butt right now. It's incredibly hypocritical to like say, no, my kids have to have the same last name as me because I'm the man. And, so you can't have the same last name, even though it totally makes sense that OP wants the same last name as her children, especially since they're all still in school. Did anyone notice the big age difference between the fiance and OP's ex? OP's ex is like 37, 38 years old. She listed both. The fiance is 24. So I'm not trying to seem ageist or anything, but a lot of people don't reach full maturity until they're like 25. We don't know the fiance's story, so there are a lot of people who are very mature at a young age, and so I'm not saying that all 24-year-olds are immature, but this particular 24-year-old sounds very immature and petty and insecure too. I mean, it's like, that's kind of weird if you think about it. Like, the kids are all teenagers, and there's 3 of them, so we can assume they're anywhere from 13 to 17/18 years old if they're all still in school. So that means that there's less of an age difference between the fiance and the children than there is between the fiance and the husband, or and the ex-husband. So that's always a little icky to me. I don't know. I mean, maybe this woman is amazing and everything, but she's certainly not acting like it. She seems, like I said, just really insecure about how she's picking on OP and just really making the husband kind of jump through these hoops and change his behavior and act different around his kids and everything. It just seems really like a lot of sign of insecurity and immaturity on the fiance's part. So yeah, OP is definitely not the A in this situation, and the husband really needs to get his head out of his own butt or out of his fiance's butt and just kind of realize that it's really not practical. He didn't even present it to her like, hey, this is something that I want to talk to you about changing your last name. He literally came to her on the phone and was saying, you have a year to change it. It sounds like an ultimatum. Or what? Nothing. You can't do anything. It's literally in her paperwork, in the divorce paperwork, that she doesn't have to change her name if she doesn't want to. So, oh my goodness. Well, luckily, actually, there is an update. So the time of this recording, the original post was 2 days ago, and the update was literally just posted 2 hours ago. So let's hear how this turns out. So several of you have asked for an update on my ex-husband giving me a year to change my last name back to my maiden name because his fiancée was uncomfortable with her and I having the same last name. And so OP basically just gives a little summary, the last post. Anyway, my ex called me yesterday and said he had done a lot of research on ex-wives keeping the ex-husband's last name after a divorce. He stated he didn't realize how common this is, especially when there are children from the marriage. Yeah, dude. He also said, this has been my last name for 17 years. My entire adult life has been with his last name, and I have built a career with it. He basically acknowledged that every reason I had to keep it was legitimate. Dude, that's so awesome. I'm very happy to hear that of the husband. He's not a total, head up his own butt type of person. He actually did some self-reflection and research and utilized some empathy, and he managed to see it from his ex-wife's point of view. Very good job, dude. I'm really proud of you. That's great. He apologized for the way he initially approached me about changing my last name and explained he is in a bad spot trying to make his fiancée happy. He also explained she feels that by me keeping his last name, it must mean that I'm still in love with him, and this is my secret way of assuring we end up together again someday. I informed him this was not, nor will it ever be the case. Yes, I cared deeply about him because I was married to him for 12 years, and he is the father of my children, and I want him to be happy in life. However, I fell out of love with him many years ago, and that will not change. He said he informed his fiancée that he will not bring this up to me again, and if she didn't like it, the ball was in her court to decide if she wanted to continue the relationship. Thank you all for the feedback on my original post. I never expected this kind of response, and an overwhelming amount of comments and advice. Oh my gosh, wow. I'm really happy with how this turned out. Like, people acted maturely for the most part. Like, we don't know how the fiancé will handle it. It'll be interesting if we get another update in like a year from now and find out whether or not they actually did get married. That would be really interesting, because some people choose some really petty hills to die on, you know? Hopefully the fiancé will realize this is not a battle she's going to win. And I'm glad that the ex-husband is defending the OP and putting his foot down and saying, hey, look, if this is something that you want to blow up our relationship for, then that's really going to show me who you are and where your priorities are. You care more about appearances and getting one up on my ex than you do about actually being married, which is kind of the suit she's showing here, if you want to use a card metaphor. Anyway, it gives me a lot of hope to see that people can have nice, mature conversations and like that and everything when there's a conflict, because so often you just see people digging their heels in deeper, and luckily in this case that didn't happen. So good job to OP and good job to the ex-husband. So those were today's stories. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts about everything. Give this video a little like, subscribe if you haven't already, so that way the algorithm can do its thing. And as always, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching, and please remember to be kind to other people and be kind to yourself. Talk to you soon.